What's up, guys? It's Wes. So in this video, we are going to be busting out the iPad yet again. We're going to be taking a look at ProCreate, looking at some of my new methods that I've been trying out, but also talk about some of my favorite brush packs that I've used within the program and how they've essentially been a game changer on using ProCreate as a software in order to make not only my client work, but also some of my personal art. So let's hop in, let's make a painting from scratch, and let's talk about some of the cool stuff you can get with ProCreate. All right, let's jump right into this. So I've been using my iPad and ProCreate more and more recently, and I'm really enjoying it, using it as kind of a thumbnailing device, a way to get down really quick sketches that I can maybe bring into other art programs that I maybe have more experience with. But I think giving ProCreate a fair shake by using kind of everything that the brush engine can allow for should be kind of the way to go for me moving forward. But yeah, I just like the feel of having the tablet in my hand and just whatever is on my mind, I can start painting and all that. So before I get into my 3 picks for my favorite brush packs so far, I do want to talk a little bit about this painting because it's actually kind of funny. I start doing one thing and then essentially just get bored. I get bored of the painting I'm working on. I don't find it interesting anymore. It's one of those things that I like. It almost feels a little too contrived, or I don't know. It just feels very obvious almost. And I know that's a weird thing to say, but it feels like I've been doing a lot of art of kind of the fantasy, monster-y, exploration, Dungeons and Dragons. Like, I've done a lot of that recently, especially for some client stuff. So as I was starting this, I got, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 minutes in. I even got to the point, okay, I'll add a little bit of value, see if something starts clicking, and maybe I might use a gradient map here or there and see if anything kind of, I think of it almost like lighting a match. Like, the match just wouldn't light. I kept striking it, and just nothing would, So I completely scrap it. And not only that, but I scrap it in such a way that I'm like, okay, instead of working with a limited color palette, why don't I just pick every color that's on the color wheel and do some crazy thick brush strokes and put some stuff down and then kind of see what I can make out of that chaos. And I will have basically the version that I have of the piece as it came out of ProCreate. I'll show that at the end, but then I'll also show what it evolved into. We actually finished it up on a live stream and, had chatters and all that stuff. But yeah, it became an art print and it's actually pretty cool. I really like how it turned out. It's much more energetic. It has more personality, especially, I didn't have a monster design in mind when I started this one. And I think that was part of it. I should probably thumbnail. I have a thumbnail video that I did recently to talk about the importance of it. And I think this is kind of exhibit A. You get, 20, 30 minutes into a thing and it's just not working. And that could have been avoided if I were to thumbnail a little better. But anyway, that's a whole different thing. But, all that being said, I am very happy and very pleased with how the final came out. And I do think having ProCreate and having these specific brush packs that I used kind of helped get to that final. It sort of like set the foundation for it to be able to be used in other painting programs or go to final or whatever you want to, call it. And yeah, so you also see me use my upcoming 2025 brush pack, and trust me, I'll have a video on that later, closer to release of it. But I'm testing them in ProCreate right now just to make sure they work okay. So I use a few of my own brushes, but I did want to call out 3 brush packs that I highly recommend everybody, if you have ProCreate, check these out. And I'll kind of go over a few of the features of each of them, but I use all 3 of the brush packs in this sketch phase. I paint for, I think, a little over an hour and a half all told. Probably close to an hour of it is the newer piece that you're going to see the end result of. And yeah, I want to cover why I used the certain brush packs that I did and what I really enjoy about them. And full disclaimer, I'm not getting anything. I'm going to have like a link in the description to all of these brush packs for if you see a few that you really like, feel free to go buy them, support the creators. It's either going to go directly to their website or like their Gumroad page. But feel free. I'm going to have the links there, but it's not affiliated. Like they don't even know I'm making this video. You know what I mean? It's just stuff that I really like and I just want to share the love. So the first one I want to bring up is actually maybe the most subtle one out of the three, but it's one that is just a powerhouse of control and having all of the brushes really work well together. And that's going to be the Randy Vargas illustration pack. Randy Vargas illustration pack, brushes for ProCreate. That's the full title. I got it on Gumroad. It seems to be only about $5. So amazing deal. And you get 14 brushes, right? Which is not a lot. The other two that I'm going to recommend have way more than that. But having a limited amount of brushes is actually a benefit sometimes, because if you have a brush pack that is just cohesive, it's pretty tight as far as all the brushes work well together, they all make logical sense on why you would need them in the brush pack. There's not like added fat, you know what I mean? Like they trim the fat. Randy is my favorite Magic the Gathering artist, pound for pound. I think he's one of the best fantasy illustrators alive right now. And the fact that I can actually use the same brushes he does is really cool. And what's neat is I'm a big fan of his, and I've done a lot of studies. I've done a lot of kind of deep dives and, value studies and color studies and trying to figure out how he gets certain looks. And I will say that quite a few of these brushes actually help me get those looks. So I know he has done some stuff for like the Stormlight Archive. He's done other, fantasy like book covers and magazine covers, and he's done seminars and all sorts of stuff, right? But really Magic the Gathering is where I kind of fell in love with Randy's work. And, I can't make stuff that looks exactly like his with the brushes, but I can see how he is using the brushes. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know what the texture is now. I know where the certain blend mode or maybe the opacity or the flow might be a little different, but I can actually see kind of the DNA of the brushes he has for sale in his paintings, which is really cool. It's almost like having a VIP pass or like a behind the curtain look. You know what I mean? And he has this beautiful painterly style, but it's very, very good for illustrative work too, because the brushes are really smooth. They handle like a dream, and they just sing together. They work so well together that sometimes it can be hard to tell if you swapped brushes or not. And not to say that they're all like identical to each other. It's just you can tell they came all from the same creative vision. So they make sense in tandem and as part of a cohesive whole, and a lot of fun. And I would say, as far as the complexity of the brushes go, this is actually a natural step beyond what you primarily get with ProCreate, like the built-in brushes, right? So this would be kind of that next step up, I think. They feel a little more premium, in my opinion. And they're just fun to use. There's a lot of like soft, kind of chalky brushes. These really honestly feel a lot like using very high quality pastels, and I have the Apple Pencil 1, and even that with the tilt control and the stuff, and I know the newer Apple Pencils are even better with this stuff, but even with mine, I do feel like I have kind of total control over the intensity, over kind of the momentum of how these brushes are working. And I really think that the strongest point about the brush pack is using them as a way to, basically a way to render. There might be another word for it, but basically taking something that's super painterly or like energetic or whatever and being able to temper it down. It really makes it look more professional. It makes it feel more professional, like you're getting into the nitty gritty, but you still have this artistic expression to it. This is all kind of subjective, but I hope you kind of know where I'm going and kind of what I mean by that. And it's all based on feel. And I can just say that the brushes feel fantastic. And I do highly, highly, highly recommend them because I think they give you some solutions to problems that you might run into that the standard ProCreate brushes may not handle as well. And just a lot of fun and highly recommended. But yeah, the first pack's going to be the Randy Vargas illustration pack brushes for ProCreate. Like I said, I'm going to link it in the description. But go have a blast with those. It's a lot of fun. Now the second is the second one is literally the biggest, maybe the biggest brush pack I've ever seen. Like ever? Well, no, that's not true. The second biggest. The biggest brush pack I've ever seen is Ray Frendon's Clip Studio Paint, which has like 1,400 brushes. But that he's a madman. I love him dearly, but he is insane. And but these brushes for ProCreate are incredible at giving you traditional feeling oil paints. And those are going to be the Oil Max Pack. Now, Max Ulecny, I believe is how you pronounce his name. I may have that wrong, but I'll type it here so you can see it. And like I said, all these links are going to be in the description. He is a genius. He's been a working artist forever. He is at the top of his game. Unbelievable results. Literally, I could have sworn, and I'm pretty good about doing the whole tradigital look, right? Where I can make my digital paintings look traditional. I can do all that. And he actually fooled me. These brushes genuinely fooled me to whenever he was showing like sketches he was making during the development of the brush pack, on his Twitter account and Instagram and stuff. And I was like, oh, that's cool. He's doing the thing where you actually make like actual brush strokes on a canvas, and then you take a picture of it, you can import it in, and then you can start, you can use that as a base when you're making brushes. It's how I make some brushes sometimes, especially if I do like a wash brush. I'll actually get watercolor paper and I'll get a dab of like either gray or kind of a darker, like a Payne's gray, and put, different blotches on there, take a picture with a cell phone, go adjust the curves and the, get rid of the white and the black and maybe invert some stuff if I need to. But that's how I kind of start building some of these brushes from scratch whenever I do my brush packs. But Max's have genuinely fooled me. This brush pack, the Oil Max pack, has 94 brushes, and it has like canvases. It has turpentine brushes, which I think are game changers. Getting a good turpentine brush is almost impossible. And I can say that I have made almost 10 brush packs and sold them, professionally. And I can't nail a turpentine. I don't understand it. His are perfect. They're perfect. Like, I'm jealous with how good they are. It really feels like if you had oil paints, like a burnt sienna or whatever, and then thinned it out with turpentine. It's incredible how well it looks. You have, of course, your like workhorse brushes, the ones that kind of do anything, almost like an oil painting version of a hard round brush. So you have like filberts and flats. You have your fan brushes. You also have really, really believable palette knives. Super good. Also, there's like great smudge brushes on there. And he even went above and beyond and made custom erasers that keep the canvas textures and stuff in check, which is fantastic, right? But this can go from like an alla prima, let's say you're doing an on plein air, you take your iPad out and you want to go paint a vista, or you're traveling and you're just, at a Waffle House or something and you want to do some sketching. This can do those really quick kind of John Singer Sargent-y, just quick sketches that he kind of became known for. But then if you wanted to take this all the way to art museum quality, beautifully rich, vibrant, almost pulsating, warms and cools and stuff like this, is absolutely the one to get, because it's stunning. It's one of those things that, I fully believe every type of art is quote unquote real art, but I get it whenever people say, oh, that looks like real art, whenever they see like a picture of this. The washes are nuts. It's hard to really put into words. And then using the brushes, they feel right. They feel correct. They feel like you're holding a paintbrush that has oil paint loaded on them with maybe a medium, like a liquid, or maybe like a Gamsol. And there's even varnishing brushes after the fact. There's what's considered like finishing brushes. So you have like canvas cracks, and then you also have this nice vibrant look of it's almost like, I think he calls them studio tools, but like the way that light would shine on a canvas, you can bring in that highlight on there. It's ridiculous. It truly is. Like, yeah, I can't really put it into words. I know I'm trying to explain it, but if you go to the site, I'm linking in the description. Man, oh man. Now, I will say, because you're getting so many brushes and they are of the toppest tier, this is considerably more expensive than the $5 of Randy Vargas's brushes. This is closer to the $30 side of things, but you can get them directly from his website. And I know it might seem a little steep, especially for digital brushes, but good Lord, if you get one oil pack, it's this one. If you want that realistic look, if you want stuff that looks like you could just print a print of it and hang it in an art gallery and convince people, they will go up and look at it and be like, oh, that's, you used oils. Like, it's stunning to look at. But yeah, that's the biggest one of the pack so far, or the biggest one of the three that I'm going to talk about. But man, it is a showstopper, and it came out earlier this year, so they have not been out very long, but I've already seen incredible work done from a lot of my favorite artists. Everybody whenever he released these, everybody jumped on. Like, everybody was like, yep, getting those. Because he also has other Max packs. He has like a drawing, like watercolor. He has old retro comic book stuff. I mean, Max is a genius when it comes to being a brush maker, really being an artist as well, but especially being a brush maker. He just gets it. He gets it like very few people do. And yeah, it comes highly recommended from me. Go check it out. I promise you're going to look at a few of these pictures and be like, wait, no. Like, it's super convincing. So a lot of fun. Yeah, go check it out. And for the final, we actually have another set of oil brushes. Now, this is a little bit different in comparison to like Max's oil pack that we talked about previously. And these are called the Perfect Oils for ProCreate by our good friend Eldar Zakharov. Link in the description, of course, just like all the other ones. But he came in pretty close with Max. So instead of 93 or 94 brushes, you get 87 brushes. Oof, that's a full course meal right there. But what's really interesting is, I believe, and this is just my opinion, you can feel free to disagree if you look at all, three of the packs and all that stuff. And I'd love for you to compare them and kind of get back and maybe leave a reply. But the Perfect Oils for ProCreate by Eldar Zakharov is the most expressive brush pack I've ever used. It's super expressive. So what do I mean by that? The brush strokes have a lot of energy to them. They're actually, in my opinion, a little bit harder to temper. They're a little bit harder to get like a perfectly smooth brushstroke, but a little bit of that chaos can make for some incredible, just like captivating images. And Eldar's worked in the industry for a long time. I first saw his work. He did, what is I don't think it's an annual. I think it's like a every other month. The Isaac Asimov sci-fi like digest. I can't remember what the exact name is, but it's great. It has short stories. It has like news and sci-fi stuff. It has just like Asimov's magazine is incredible. And that's where I saw his cover art, because I saw it and I was like, ooh, whose oil painting is this? Like, gorgeous looks. Yeah, it's all digital. And the cool thing is he also makes this brush pack for Photoshop. So that's actually different than Randy Vargas's or Max's. Is these brushes, he has two versions. He has one for ProCreate, and then the exact same set he has for Photoshop. And primarily a lot of those are mixer brushes to give you that same consistent, like wet on wet sort of painting feel. And man, it's so fun to use, because instead of coming at it more academically, almost like Max did on his, these feel purely illustrative. This gives you of what the emotion of an oil painting is without much effort. Does that make sense? Like when you go and you click on the link and you go and look at some of these, you'll notice it kind of has everything you would ever want in an oil painting, because you have some nice like scumble brushes, like kind of the dry scrapes. You have your really rich impasto, that actually has the raised edges and stuff like that. But really the thing that just blows me away about the Perfect oils is the way they blend. So oils do this beautiful thing whenever you're using oil, that linseed oil, and you use like a solvent or some sort of thinner, or maybe even like a liquid or whatever. There's this beautiful rich harmony whenever the oil touches oil, and it makes almost, a lot of people consider it like a muddy color, but I think there's beauty in that mud, because you can control the temperature. You can have it more gray and like blue, or you can have it more brown, kind of that ochre color. You can really make those things sing. And the Perfect Oils Eldar Zakharov brush pack is stunning. Like, just, I know I said it about really all of these brush packs, but truly there's a reason why, this is the first video that I'm doing of this kind. And I needed to bring up Eldar's, during the first batch, because they are that critical. I will say every time I need to do some very specific finishing touches, and I need an oil painting look, or I need some deep impasto, or I need some sort of like really natural, beautiful, harmonious, like oily blend, I will load up his mixer brushes. I have both. I have the ProCreate set, which I've used here, and I also have the Photoshop set, because I want the brushes in both places. So I bought them twice, essentially. And I know on his website, he's selling them for about $23 to $25 a pack. So, I mean, if you're dropping money for both of them, that's like $50, which, once again, not a small amount of money, but I do think you will be very well pleased with how these brushes perform. And yeah, it's one of those things that you start putting down brush strokes, and at first you think you made a mistake, but if you keep putting brush strokes down, they all start to, become this bigger thing, and you're like, whoa, I see it now. And you start getting more excited to paint. And I've said this before. I've said it about my brush packs. I've said it about any brush pack that you're interested in buying. If the brush pack itself helps you stay motivated during a painting, especially one like we're seeing here, to where I started it and I hated what I had first, but then I put in a lot of these thick brushes and stuff. I used the Eldar pack and Max pack and, did that. And then I was like, ooh, there's something here. If it sparks that creativity and that imagination, you're off to the races, man. Now you're cooking with gas. I mean, you just can't lose. And so there's a lot of argument, hey, do brushes really matter? I would say yes, if only to give you variety and keep things interesting. And trust me, these Eldar brushes, the Perfect Oils pack for ProCreate is super interesting. It's a lot of fun. It does have a kind of a big learning curve, but what's really cool, whenever you buy the set, it actually comes with a few PDF files to kind of instruct you and give you notes on the best, most natural way to use the brushes, which I find incredibly helpful. In fact, I've been doing that with all my brush packs lately. I think having a video or like a PDF or something to be able to kind of steer the user in the right direction. Like, okay, I know, 84 or 87 or however many brushes this is. It can seem like a lot, but let's break them down step by step and see kind of how they work. That way you can kind of pick your favorites and go from there. So yeah, highly recommended on that route. And that brings us to the end of this episode. If you have any ProCreate brush packs that you're a big fan of, please let us know in the comments. I'm going to do a lot more of these type of videos. I think showcasing other assets from other creators who are also, best in class is a lot of fun because we're just sharing wealth of knowledge. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, have you tried these? Have you tried these? It's like it's like old tape traders of like people that are really big into concerts. Like they would film concerts and then do like tape trading. Oh, you have the old Radiohead thing. I have I have this old like Nirvana tape or whatever. So you get into that type of thing, but it's like brushes. Oh, have you used these brushes yet? Oh, they're incredible. Be sure to look at this one and this one and this one. And like, it's so much fun. It opens up a whole other avenue of appreciation for digital art, because now not only are you learning kind of fundamentals and doing all your art stuff and like getting better that way, your anatomy studies and whatever, value control, edge control, all that, but now you're seeing how expressive each of these individual creators are as far as just even making brushes. The way they solve problems is different. Having that kind of cohesive package of ideas as a brush pack, it's worth its weight in gold, So yeah, try these out. Let me know what you think of them. I will say, if you're using Photoshop for the Perfect Oils from Eldar, some of them can kind of chug your machine a little bit if you're not careful. But it's because they have that mixer brush stuff. And, sometimes, Photoshop was not necessarily made to be a painting software. So it really does kind of push it to its limit. But I will say with ProCreate, even on I think I have an iPad 7th generation. So it's kind of old now, but it runs like a dream. I have had no problems, never had a crash, nothing like that. And that's for any of these brush packs. So whether it's the Max oil pack or the Randy Vargas set or the Eldar Zakharov set, you can't go wrong. And I think you're going to have an absolute blast. But that has been my time. It's great to catch up with you all. Hope you're doing well. We're going to see some more iPad art for sure. Finding all the good brushes makes you excited to work with it, And I will say a little behind the scenes news. I'm building a new website. It should be live very soon. There's going to be exclusive stuff on it. And it's going to be my kind of flag in the sand. We're staking a claim about what we want the website and this type of learning experience to be. But be on the lookout for that. Trust me, you will not be able to avoid it once it hits. But yeah, you guys take care. Go make cool art, and we'll talk to you next time. Peace.